You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to part 2 of our Monday morning show. I've got Scott Hobbs calling all the way from Mr. Reuter. Now, when I said that last week, I didn't know you were calling from San Antonio. Are you calling from San Antonio today or from another place out of town?
No, I'm calling from Panama City, Florida today.
How was your trip, sir?
But hey, I got some cool news about our trip out.
Yes, please.
Yeah, one of our technicians, Keith, he's actually been on your show.
Yes.
He won Service Professional of the Year for Mr. Reuter. Now, what's cool about that, that's not just all the Mr. Reuters in Florida, not even all the Mr. Reuters in the United States, but all the Mr. Reuters all over the world. He's the #1 technician and chosen for that award.
Wow,
that amazing?
That is amazing. Congratulations, because that's like being named Napa Technician of the Year. I mean, that is an honored award for in my profession, but in your profession, that's even more honor because that's a plumber. I mean, that profession right there. I mean, you're actually going in people's homes, taking care of people, and this is a hands-on plumber. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, absolutely. He's been with our company for 13 years, and it's based on just his ability to interact with the customers, his customer reviews and feedback, and just being a great technician.
Well, he's very knowledgeable.
We're very proud of him.
He's very knowledgeable of the business. He knows, ask him any question about the plumbing aspect of it. I had him on the show before, and from redlining, piping to to whatever it is, rotor-rootering out there where you actually do the high pressure scrubbing of the lines. And he's very knowledgeable, and he's only been doing it for 13 years. I thought he'd been doing it all of his life.
Well, that's almost all of his life. He's a young fella.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. Come to think about it, I walk in a room now, and everyone calls me Mr. Morris, and I keep looking behind me for my dad. And kind of scary there sometimes. But anyway, that's wonderful. So that made you feel really good that someone that represents your business got the Technician of the Year. Is it Plumber of the Year or Technician of the Year?
They call it Service Professional of the Year.
Service Professional of the Year. It's not like it used to be Mechanic of the Year. It's Auto Technician. Now it's Service Professional of the Year. But it's a lot more than fixing leaks and unclogging toilets. Being a plumber, it requires a lot of critical thinking, thinking outside the box. It's not like it used to be because there's so many more variables now on what could cause a problem, whether it's external, internal. Is it age? Is it due to what you call fats, oil, and grease? Fats, oil, and grease, and you get to figure out how to go about taking care of that where the customer gets the most bang for their buck.
That's right. And which technology is going to be best for that application?
Right.
So it's more than just an old rough looking guy out there.
Oh yeah.
That's just working hard. He's actually has to be intelligent.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you a question. I know the worst thing can ever happen to a car is if a car sits and doesn't get used. I have people that bring me cars, been sitting for a year or two, and they say, we can't get it started. And I said, well, I'll get it started, but I can't guarantee it's going to be cheap because things happen. When things get set up with gasoline in them or don't get used, things break. And is that the same thing about houses when they don't get used? Plumbing sometimes. What happens to the pipe? Does that fog, that fats, oil, and grease, does it get dried out and break off and clog up? I mean, what ends up happening to houses that don't get used?
Well, you have that scenario in drain lines where anything that was maybe wet and lubricated because of constant use. Maybe it still had the bacteria and the fats, oils, and grease in the line that should have been cleaned or serviced at some point. But like you said, it'll start to dry and harden, and that becomes even worse. So we have people who will buy, purchase foreclosed homes to refurbish or flip or whatever, and we go in and video scan those lines, and it looks like just a cavern through there, and it's just in bad shape. So we go in and hydro scrub them, get them cleaned out and serviceable. Same with the water lines. Those valves, if they're not touched for years and years, they get crusty and hard and tend to break off.
Yeah.
You go to shut it off and try to turn it back on, and the skim's broke.
Well, that's what I see a lot of people that the people are living in homes right now, including my own, as far as rental homes and everything. If we don't go in there once a year and go down to the bathroom valve shut off or under the sink shut off, we have found out if we forget it after a couple of years and go to try to touch them, we can't move them. Or if we do get to move them, they start to leak. And
That's right.
and it's kind of like, dadgummit, why didn't we do it last year, or make that a regular preventive maintenance? And isn't that one of the things that your technicians do when they come and do a courtesy inspection of someone's house, is inspect all the valves?
When we come out and do a call at your home, we'll do a complimentary checkup, go through and visually check everything. If we don't feel that the valves are in that bad a shape, we'll go ahead and turn them on and turn them off, get them as lubricated as possible by doing so. If they look as though they haven't been touched in 20 years, we'll probably make a recommendation to replace them rather than causing a leak by trying to turn them on and off. And then if you have a clean out outside your home, we'll go ahead and video scan that if you have a proper access, to inspect your drain lines.
Now, you were telling me that not everyone has a proper access. Well, I mean, I don't know. You have to ask. Is that because maybe that wasn't standard a few years ago, and people they didn't have to have that? Is that why they may not have a proper access?
Sure. Years ago, the inspections have changed over the years. At certain times, the main line from the house to the street wasn't inspected, so plumbers would take the shortest, quickest route and just run the pipe straight to the city and cover it up and go. So folks don't have an actual accessible point in the drain line there at the house. There should be one within 18 to 24 inches of your home for your main drain line. So many times we have to go in and actually install one of those. Now, years ago, we would just get up on the roof and run a cable down or camera down and access it that way, but that's, number one, it's dangerous for your home, dangerous for the technician up on the roof.
Right.
And it's kind of like, you don't have a front door, so let's crawl through the window to get into the house. It's not proper access.
Well, that's true, but you do what you have to do in a case like this. But but what you can do is, if a house doesn't have an inspection drain out or whatever you call it right there, that's something that can be installed after the fact. And that's something as preventive maintenance that really should be installed. If people don't have an access to the drain, if they don't have one, they need to consider putting one in. How can people tell if they have an access to a drain? I mean, until I met you, I had no idea where to look for one.
Well, like I say, it should be between 18 and 24 inches from the home, and it's typically going to be on the same side as, if you're on city sewer, the same side of the house as the city sewer. You can walk out in the street, and if you see manholes, that's where the city sewer is at. So you could be able to walk along the front of the house or the direct side of the house that may be closest to the street and see if you see, a white piece of pipe about 4 or 5 inches in diameter with a big nut on top. That's going to be your clean out or your access to your main drain line. Now, here's the other reason that you need to have that. Let's say you have a stoppage, roots in the line, or the city stops up or something of that nature. Rather than it backing up into your house, you can pop that cap. And naturally, we don't want it causing any kind of environmental issues, but it's better for it to spill there on the ground than to spill in your house or your carpet. And
absolutely.
It causes all sorts of damage.
Absolutely, because if you don't have flood insurance and that happens, that's considered flooding. And if you don't have flood insurance, you're on your own. That comes out of your own pocket. I believe I'm correct on that. My wife has told me that's the thing, how that works. She said if you have rising water, that's considered a flood, and if you ain't got flood insurance, you ain't gonna get it covered under insurance. Well, wow.
Sure, and the folks are more worried about mold issues and things of that nature. But I assure you, sewage in your home is far more dangerous and can make you sick way before mold. Mold is, particular people have allergies to it, but I think everybody is, has allergies to sewage, raw sewage.
Right. Yeah, that's not a good thing to have, and I can't imagine that happening. I feel sorry for those people in the Louisiana area in the last few weeks that flooded, because their entire homes were completely ruined. Anything from raw sewage water to everything came inside there, and they're going to have to be repaired. And we've had that happen here before, and when we had Hurricane Opal come through. I want to say, when was that? 2007? 95? I can't remember when it was. I'm getting too old. But anyway, the point is we had it.
One of those decades.
One of those decades back there. And it's not a pleasant thing to happen. But like you said, if something stops up on the, say a pump station, a lift station stops working, and your toilets start to back up, you could actually go out there, take that drain out inspection cover off, and it would actually flow into your yard. You don't want that to happen, but dadgummit, it's a heck of a lot better than flowing into your living room.
Right. If it flows into your yard, you can treat it with lime, and that's going to be way to treat it, and it's safe. But if it flows into your house, you're going to be taking out carpet, walls. I mean, there's a lot to it.
Oh, there's a lot. Dangerous. And then yes, it is. And then getting the smell out. That may never get out for years and years and years. I mean, I bet you people actually sold their homes because of this and took a loss on it. I'm sure they have. Yeah, I'm sure they have. Okay, well, back to your guy that won this award. Tell me a little bit more about Chris. I want to know where he came from.
Keith.
And all this. I mean, Keith. I mean, tell me more about Keith. Tell me more about him, because this is a fabulous award he got.
It is, yeah. Well, Keith started with us 13 years ago. And he grew up on a farm, so we knew he had good work ethic.
Yep.
And we talk about looking for folks all the time on your show, and we look for people that have good home training, good work ethics, mechanically minded. You know, he fit that bill across the board, and he worked with us out in the field for quite a time to get his training, and did on the job training. Perfect example of somebody who we brought up through the ranks, and turned out to just be a fabulous technician. You know, we have customers who call. I could stop taking fresh calls for Keith, and he would have just a steady flow of repeat customers that call and ask for him.
Wow.
You know, which is wonderful.
That is wonderful. That makes you feel good too. You know,
it does.
It makes you know you've done the right thing. You've actually trained this young man up, and to where he's making good living. And then maybe here's the bad thing though. Like in my business, Keith one day may want to open up Keith's Roto-Rooter or Mr. Plumber or whatever. That's usually what ends up happening. We get these really great guys. They work with us for a few years, and then they get so good they go open up their own business. But you know, that's the way it is, and we'll continue to encourage that to happen, because we only want the best for our customers. We only want the best for our employees. And
absolutely, James. I've got probably a handful of competitors in town that work for me. Maybe not started with me, but worked for me for a period of time, and then went on to go into their own business. And I take that as a compliment.
I do too. I know exactly what you're saying. When I see a successful businessman that used to work for me, I go, maybe I had a little something to do with that. Maybe just a little, not much. But it makes
maybe we were a good example.
Maybe that's what makes me feel, because you lead by example. That's like in the military, you lead by example. That's why you have your leaders in front, not behind you. They're leading by example. Hey, I want to thank you for getting on here, Scott. Thank you so much. People can reach you at 763-2001. Is that correct? They want to look for a job or need your services. And is that phone number answer 24 hours a day, or is that just from 8 to 5?
Nope, it's always answered.
Always answered. 763-2001. That's Mr. Rooter from Mr. Hobbs Plumbing over there. Scott Hobbs, owner and proprietor, third generation plumber. Third generation plumber. Hey, Scott, you be good. I'll talk to you all next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, beep.